Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, so I think Peter Kirsten was my cricketing hero, and he. Oh, good.
Yes, I'm hearing you. I can hear you.
Okay. So 1990s, I think fielding wasn't even a big part of the game. I mean, there wasn't much limited overs cricket played. It was mainly Test cricket, and I know Dean Jones from the Australian team, because Melbourne was one of the biggest grounds in the world. I mean, it had a massive outfield, and Dean Jones, one of the few players that could throw the ball from the boundary back to the wicketkeeper. And we as a South African team in that 92 World Cup, we had a plan, always have a relay throw, because you'll never reach. Kepler Wessels had played for Australia. So, many of the players, no one really threw very well. But as a South African team, we just said in 92, with no international experience, we can still be the fittest team and the best fielding team. So everybody worked on their fielding. So the difference, I think, now between the 90s and what you see now was that throughout the 90s, every team had one or two good fielders, and every country had one or two decent fielders. But the rest of them, 7 or 8 of them, not very athletic. So that's been the key difference, is the fitness levels now that you see. So from a fielding point of view, if you can't get to the ball, you can't stop it. You can't catch it.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that's a difference now. And I think it's not just IPL, it's not just T20 cricket, where we've seen the importance. If Virat Kohli is batting in a test match, you don't want to give him 2 chances. One's enough. Because he's gonna bat and bat forever. So catching in test cricket is just as important. So I think fielding-wise, but the levels of athleticism, the athletes who are now playing cricket makes a big difference. So fielding has changed, and not just because of me. I think people became aware of it, but it took maybe 8 years or 10 years before more people decided, okay, it's actually it's an important part of the game. If there are 2 players and the selectors can't decide who to choose,
definitely,
it's often the guy who can add more value in the field who will get selected. So I think the players have identified that too, and that they appreciate that it's now the third sort of department of the game. It's not just batting and bowling, it's also fielding. So that's the big difference. The athletic ability of the players has certainly changed.
Because the demand of the game also have been changed. Like you said, you can do the batting, you can do the bowling, but fielding is all about enjoyment. What I've seen you on the field, what I've seen a player like Yuvraj and Kaf. So I think when you enjoy the game, you can be a brilliant fielder. That's what I believe. You need to enjoy each and every ball. You need to enjoy each and every the quality of the spinner or the fast bowler. You just need to keep moving, keep supporting the bowler, keep backing up. That's a more give you the mental toughness. That's all the fielding is all about. What I've seen in Indian ground is a bit difficult, like you said. So when someone dies, the pain stays till the next game. So we really need to work hard and see the situation, which ground we are playing. In South, they have a lot of humidity. When you come to North, they have a lot of hardness. When you go in West, they have a lot of red soil. So every ground has a different challenge. So what I've learned, you just need to go fully and see what the result later. So I don't.
Is the key. I think two things what you've said. One is the enjoyment. I mean, for me, there was no IPL, there was no T20 when I was playing cricket. So it was test cricket in 50 overs. So 90 overs in a test match per day, I was still running after the ball at the end of the. Then if we were still in the field after 90 overs, I was still chasing the ball. So we also, I was always in a position where I wanted the ball to come to me.
Yeah.
So the commentators would compliment my good anticipation. My reflexes weren't faster, because then I would be a much better batsman, and I would have scored runs maybe like Brian Lara or Ricky Ponting possibly. I could have scored more runs if I had good reflexes. It wasn't that. Anticipation was I was expecting every ball to come to me before it was hit. And that's also, and the last thing you finish with, every time you go for the ball. Because if you think about diving, it's too late. If you dive for the ball, my South African teammates in the 90s say, Jonty, that's a TV dive. I said, what's a TV dive? So no, but you're diving for the ball, and there's no chance that you can catch it. Big Brian McMillan, he would sit there and go, come on, Joe. You're making the rest of us look bad because you're diving and we're not. But It's a TV dive. Your arms are bleeding and everyone thinks you're amazing, but you didn't stop the ball. So I said, well, at least I know I didn't stop the ball. Because the problem is if you stand there and you watch the ball and you think, maybe I could have stopped it. Or if you think about going to dive for it, then you fall down. And then hard fields in India, if you fall on your knees, if you fall, whereas if you're diving, you're going at speed, you slide a bit. Yeah, it burns. It does burn.
Yeah.
But if you're falling, that's when you have, I think, more internal injuries, knees and elbows that cause a problem.
We all still know about knows about that run out you did to Inzimamul Haq. And you gone with the two hands, whether you go on left, whether you go on right. When you go with the two hands, your reach became more. Then you're 100% sure where to fly and where to stop the ball. So I think that's the key I felt to learn from you. So I think I've seen a lot of catches. Every time you're standing on 15 yards, Sachin used to say, I don't want to take runs from you. You can do so many damage to a batsman. So tell us something about that.
I think the key with being able to go with two hands, and and I've seen some of your catches are one-handed. Some of my catches happen to be one-handed, and that's often if you close and the ball has gone behind you.
Yeah.
And you can't get both hands there. But I think my whole focus was to be as low as possible and then go nice and low, which got me with both hands. The interesting thing is that people would have an excuse. Oh, my left-hand side is my weak side. But actually, if you go with two hands, your right arm is my stronger arm, my right leg is my stronger leg. So I should be able to get to my weaker side with both hands, because in essence, the right hand's having to do more work to get across. The right leg is having to push me off. So I shouldn't have the excuse of saying, oh, it was to my left, so my weaker side. It's actually not really. And the key was the position, though, Suresh. If I was nice and low, I could dive between knee height and chest height. So reverse cup was a good technique. And to get there, you can't put your hands there reverse cup. You have to take a step.
Take a step.
Which is what I try and do with practice when I get young kids, especially if I do any work in India or Nepal or Sri Lanka, Pakistan, if I do coaching in the subcontinent where the guys don't like to dive, you get them in a low position by saying, okay, practice now reverse cup, because you have to be low to catch the ball in reverse cup. And already you're halfway through the dive. So if you're standing up here and you're thinking, now I've got to dive,
but if you're low, you can go.
You go.
You can fly.
Go already. So 100%.
So we have a few more, like name your favorite world fielders and name your favorite Indian fielders as well.
Okay, world fielders. I love to watch A.B. de Villiers. If he's batting or in the field, he's a very entertaining guy. I think Martin Guptill is a really good fielder from New Zealand. Sir Jadoo is he's not bad, eh? Great
he's
fielder.
Brilliant.
And I keep saying, people mustn't throw like Jadoo. Let them throw like that, but let's be more over the top. He's always throwing sidearm, but he just doesn't seem to miss. So, and also, he's very different to you and I. He's a bit like a player, Michael Bevan from New Zealand, very fast across the field. So you never saw him really dive or slide because he's got such good speed. He get to the ball. And someone like a Jadoo or Michael Bevan, because their speed is so incredible that you hardly see them diving unless it's a slide on the boundary. So Jadoo these days, I mean, he's taken some fantastic catches, in test matches, in one days. So I think the key there is he's fully committed. I mean, he's got that big sword. He's a pretty brave guy. So
and he does a lot of ground covering when he does fielding in outside circle. He covered a lot of ground.
Yeah. Well, I think the key there, and you spoke about it earlier, was about, you're looking for backup, you're looking for work.
Exactly.
So being prepared for the ball to come. So too often when we react, when we see the ball has been hit in our direction, or suddenly there's an overthrow, it's too late. So I think from that point of view, what Jadoo was so good at is that anticipation. So anybody who's expecting them, even if it doesn't look like, and if you think about Dilshan's scoop 10 years ago, now suddenly everybody is playing every shot. It's not just, it doesn't just come to you here at backward point or at long on. It goes anywhere. So every fielder has to be prepared. So, I've always been I've always been a great fan of yours in the field because you remind. I know how hard the fields
Yeah.
are, so I know if you're diving around all the time, then you are fully committed. So I've always been a big fan, and it's always been
Thank
on
you.
Twitter. I'm always saying things.
No,
So it's
you've been always motivating me.
I'm not just saying it because we're here live together.
No, I've been seeing that.
I've always been a big
seeing it.
follower of yours.
And I heard a lot of good things about Rohit and Harbhajan Singh, about your practice session, about the way you have done so much miracles for the Mumbai Indians. I've seen Pollard taking brilliant catches. Even Rohit Sharma when he dive in the slip and when he goes the covers. I still remember the catch he took in the covers in Bangalore.
Yeah.
One-handed.
Yeah, one-handed.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Excellent. Thank you. I mean, I think the key with that is, especially someone like a Rohit or Pollard, those kind of guys who have Pollard, his fingers are always in trouble because he's always in the hot spots. His fingers look a bit like always taped up, and so I just make sure that I give him the practice that he wants. A lot more tennis ball, lots of boundary work, and then Rohit as well. It's 5 minutes, but I think Suresh, the key with what I try and do, especially IPL. I mean, IPL not this year, but it's usually in May, June. I mean, it's the hottest time in India, so you can't have a 45-minute fielding practice. Sometimes we'll do a team drill, but usually it's me with two players. So short and it's sharp, but it's match intensity.
That's
so that was advice my father gave me when I was a youngster. He just said, Jonty, if you think practice makes perfect, that's only half the story. It's perfect practice that makes perfect.
Yeah.
So you got to practice like you play. So that's all I'm looking for. 5 to 10 minutes. Pollard.
It has to be match.
Even with a tennis ball, Pollard knows if I'm hitting him 5 catches and he's caught 4, number 5 is coming like a rocket, man. I hate the players. I hate the players catching 5 out of 5 because then it's an insult to my tennis, and I think I'm quite a good tennis player. So I'm
have a session with you soon. And a few more questions. Who was the one batsman you knew you could not run out no matter what?
Well, I think I spoke about Michael Bevan, his speed across the ground when he was fielding. He was like lightning. He was a great finisher for Australia in the late 90s. Because I think also his risk-free cricket. There wasn't power plays. So very similar to the job that I was doing for South Africa in the late 90s and early 2000s with in 30s and 40s. It's not you're the guy that must take the team through. And the reason why that Bevan and myself were fairly successful was because we had good speed across the ground. So and Jad was the same. So if you got good speed across the ground, you can take less risk because you can score 8 off an over just by hitting 2s. Hit the ball in the gap and run really quickly. So Michael Bevan, usually if you got the ball and you threw the stumps down, direct hit, most of the time, maybe 8 out of 10 times, the player was out.
Yeah.
But with Bevan, you would think he's out, but he's just got, he's got a good reach as well. But he was like lightning between the wickets.
I want to ask you, when you used to take 2 runs or third runs, you used to not to do the bat in a different way, not to touch the line. You just go to the slide and come back. What was the reason behind?
So I would actually try and almost swing my bat. So I wouldn't touch the bat down, because the problem I see with fielding is that when we're running between the wickets, I want to run 2 every time. So I would say, okay, I'm going to touch down first, and then I'm going to look, because the players are still at either crease. So if I say no, then it's fine. But if I slow down to look at the fielder first, it was 2 runs. Yes. So even if I hit the ball to third man, and plus, if he sees me running fast, he knows, I mustn't, Johnny wants to come back. You put him under pressure. Yeah. If it's too easy, then they're not going to fumble. But if you put the fielders under pressure, then they fumble, then you come back. The turn's important.
I wish you could have run with MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli.
No, they are quick, man. They really are fast. I mean, MSD was even now at the end of his career. I mean, whenever the end of his career is, he's that power in his legs. Those pads go everywhere, but he's strong. And that's a key, though, is the turn. Yeah. And I think that's a difference. I was never there might have been faster guys over 100 meters than me, but over 5 to 10 meters, and the turning, and that's also because we played so many different other sports in South Africa. So a football player, a hockey player, also a tennis player. Cricket.
And who's your favorite Bollywood actor? Any Bollywood actor, any Bollywood dialogue, any movies you've seen?
Gully Boy. Gully Boy. I love it. Well, I think the key for me is that I keep seeing, you watch some Bollywood and then suddenly everyone starts dancing and singing. I think, how can these guys? Because I watched Milkha Singh run that Milkha Singh movie.
Milkha Singh movie, yes.
Yeah, with Harbhajan. But it started at 10:30 at night. So interval was, I think, about midnight. There was no subtitles, so just Hindi. And then also these guys were all dancing, and I'm thinking, come on, man, why is everybody dancing and singing? But with Gully Boy, music was a part of the movie.
Exactly.
So I think that's why, I actually watched it on the airplane, and I've watched it again since then. And I keep the soundtrack in my phones when I'm exercising. It's a really cool soundtrack. So Gully Boy's been my favorite and only Bollywood movie.
You've been traveling a lot of
no, the double style. I mean, if I go on the bike, we sit and we'll eat double style, no problem whatsoever. Thali, so veg, non-veg. Also depends if we're going south, north. Rajasthan, I love mutton. So lal mas for me is
amazing.
I love it. If I come south, if I spend more time in Mumbai, then I eat more vegetarian.
Yes.
Palak paneer, I can eat that all day, every day. So it does depend on where I am. And then I've also been snowboarding in Kashmir, in Gulmarg.
Kashmir.
And there we had a bus van. So that was very much mutton.
Tabak mas, wajwan, rista.
So exactly. So depending on which state I'm in, I like to eat what the locals are eating. So I don't have one particular favorite. But paratha for me is, it's death. I love it too much. Especially when we come play in Chennai or...
You should try the parathas in north side. When you come to Delhi or when you go to Rishikesh, they have the biggest paratha you'll ever have, stuffed with potatoes or whatever, like paneer. So much. No, that does me. I have far too many parathas. So I have one more question again. How much have fitness levels changed since you were playing till now? I think you have already answered that.
Yeah, no, tremendously. And it's interesting because when you work at IPL, most of the teams will have an overseas, even at state level, you'll have fitness trainers now. And I think the key though is that being fit is not just about going to the gym. I think yoga for me has been amazing. I never did yoga while I played.
Srishan say you're the fittest till now, and he said you can still play, you can still make anyone run out from the point. He wanted to ask you one question.
Maybe I can run out. What? Maybe I can still run out, but not between the wickets like I used to. Maybe 1 or 2, but not a 3. No more 3. No more 3.
Who's the fittest cricketer around the world? Do you reckon who is? Around the world. You have seen so many of them.
The interesting thing is that having watched the IPL, there's different players with different requirements. So if you're a fast bowler, if you're a batsman, you've got different physical requirements. But I think the one thing about the physical issues is what if you speak about somebody's fitness, I think there's 2 things that I look at. Is that how often do they get injured? And then does their fitness level allow them to go above and beyond their cricketing performances? So, and I think, obviously in this instance is where you've seen his transformation. You've seen him as a chubby youngster, India under 19 captain, and him making that realization that if he is going to be consistently at the top of his game, he needs to change his whole outlook on fitness. And it's not just about the gym; it's what you eat, what you put into you. I think that's a key for me. Is that I have an Ayurvedic doctor in Mumbai, and he assisted with our last birth of our boy Nathan in 2017, and he's always just saying, Jonty, what you take in is so the health of your gut is, and especially now with this COVID-19, everyone's saying, well, we need to boost our immunity. And for me, it's like practicing like it's a match situation. You can't suddenly get sick and think, let me go to the doctor, let me take a tablet and that'll fix me. What is my foundation like? What is my system like? And I think as a youngster to what he's doing now and how he just keeps scoring runs and runs and runs and runs and plays a lot of cricket without much injury. So, I think fitness is not something where you can run all day. There's the guys who can do that, but it doesn't help their game. But I think the player that they can be, I'd have to say Virat Kohli is right up there right
Definitely.
now.
The best thing about Virat, I've seen him in one days and T20. When he finished, whenever he scored 100 or when we bat first or bat second, he will come the first one to do the catching for the one or two just to go through, hit few balls at the stump. So every time he enjoys. I think that's the quality of him because every game he wants to win. At the same time, MS Dhoni also same. Whenever he is very in a calm way, he comes, see what's happening. Every time we go to the field, we have to catch the ball first, take the field. Especially with the new ball when you go for the field. Especially the slip catches. Every time I want a new ball for the slip catches, and Fleming or Hussey, they always make sure I'm doing it right because you need to do catches with the new ball.
If you're practicing and you're practicing with an old ball that's comfortable, you come to the game and hit your fingers, suddenly it doesn't feel the same. So that practicing like it's a match situation is so important. It really is. So it's good to see. And I can understand. I know why you're successful. You go. If you don't go, you'll never know. But
exactly.
So you're practicing because you can't turn on your A game when the game starts. Your A game has to be on the whole time.
On the whole time. True.
Whole time. Because you got to practice like it's a.
It's good because things are pretty good right now.
Well, I think it's. In South Africa, we unfortunately, India, there's been a slowdown of economic growth, but slowdown to,
Lara is asking something about you.
Okay.
He said, I didn't see if he's gone. Sorry, continue please.
No, it's okay. So apparently he's just had his birthday, hasn't he? He had his birthday.
He had a good time.
Just last week.
And he talked about the paratha you were talking about. He said, I put on weight. I said, I didn't put on weight. I'm looking good.
Oh, COVID. So that's the big concern, is that how do you weigh up people's lives and safety of the population, and then also the real issues that we'll have with the economy if we don't restart the economy quickly, but in obviously in a safe environment. We're going to create a lot more poverty, and there was already 30% unemployment in South Africa, and they're saying over a million jobs already lost. So the situation. Everybody they're locked down. The government totally locked down, a bit like India. We shut down. We've been down like you guys over 50 days now.
Yes.
So it's obviously in areas where there's a high concentration of people.
Yeah.
But
it's been challenging now because please. Because as a sports person, we go through a lot of emotion. We go through with a lot of mind planning and everything. Because you do fitness, you do look after your diet, but at the same time, you need to train your brain when you look after the situation, what's happening. But I think yoga does around the world. So I think it's good to see when the yoga comes and you do a lot of Surya Namaskar. It give you a lot of and really feel your breath. So that's the most important thing. So that's what I've been doing since lockdown. So it's giving me a lot of relaxing mind.
I think it's connected. So it's not just, that's why for me, I'm not a big player or not a big gym going person. I do work out if I'm in India, and I do less yoga, but because the team is in the gym, so I sit with the guys, I'll watch them in the gym. But the rest of the time, I'm either in the ocean, which not during lockdown, but surfing is such good exercise.
Yeah.
You know,
I wish we could do that in India.
So if you come to Mahabs, Kovalong Point, we're just down the road from.
We'll do it.
If IPL happens with. But
He does a lot of good exercise also. Yes.
Yeah. You know, I think the key with the yoga, what it also teaches you is that every day is different, because some days you feel strong on the mat, the next day not so strong. But what we're going through now is very similar to cricket too, with this COVID-19, with the pandemic, is that we have to focus. I mean, this has been 50 days. It's a long time. You can't control how the wicket's going to play. You can't control the opposition, the bowlers or the batsmen.
Yeah.
You can't control the umpire. Sometimes, okay, now with DRS, you might be lucky you get a referral. But you know, as a cricket player, there's so many things that you can't control, that you have to focus on what you can control, and then you work 100% at those. So you know, it's easy to make or just throwing spin, you know. So you say, well, how did you practice in those conditions? Did you practice 100% on the things that you can control? And that's, I think that's what also, again, what yoga has showed us, was that, as I said, the important that everything is connected. Yeah. And the second thing is that you focus through your breathing on what you can control, and it's made a massive difference.
I'm loving your fitness video also. You've done something, so that's brilliant to do something in my home. I've been watching that and looking up blue, the back. It's pretty good.
Great.
So I have you have special connection with India, and I even named your daughter India. I think you already answered. So one more thing about in your playing days, I always wanted to know why you always stood close to the wicket, like 15 yards. You always there to, maybe the position you wanted to catch the ball from the down, because some of the cricketers they played. A few of the others, like Brian Lara, like with the back lift.
Great cut. Steve Waugh was a really good cut to the ball.
Even David Martin.
Good square. Very good. Very good square of the wicket. So I think the key with me, Suresh, was that because we didn't have fielding coaches, so my fielding was a makeup of as a tennis player. So we talk about the split jump. So split jump allows me to go to backhand, forehand as a tennis player when I'm returning serve. But as a football player and as a hockey player, I was the goal scorer, so centre forward. So I would always play against goalkeepers.